So apparently, Canada is not a country anymore. At least this is what some of your leaders said.
And if we didn't spend that money, they would cease to exist.
And this is also what some of our leaders said.
Of an artificial country with very little meaning called Canada.
It's not a real country. It is 10 provinces, each one of which trades more with the United States than they do with the rest of Canada.
Since the United States is so central to Canadian politics, like a lot of people are trying to remind us these days, I think it's just fair for the American people to know who exactly is in charge of that thing we call Canada up north. I hope you enjoy, because you are going to hear those names more and more in your American newsfeed in the upcoming weeks. Let's introduce contestant number 1, the most boring of all, Mark Carney. So sorry for the Liberals.
This is Canada. We decide what happens here.
He's actually a walking Microsoft Excel sheet. When you talk to Mark Carney, you better start talking in rows, columns, and cells. He's the former big boss of the Bank of England. He is also the former big boss of the Bank of Canada. So he knows his when it comes down to economy. And guess what? We have economical, that's a hard word. We are in an economical challenge era right now in Canada. He's the number guy. Now, something weird happened between Mark Carney and Donald Trump a few weeks ago. Mark Carney called the news outlet and said,
Last night, the President of the United States reached out to schedule a call.
The phone call happened, and suddenly, we were not hearing about the 51st state anymore. Carney was bragging about, well, Trump respects our sovereignty. We're gonna face economical challenges together and it's gonna work out.
Look at the difference in tone and language from Donald Trump here, talking about the Prime Minister, Mark Carney.
Even Trump backed off.
But I don't think it's appropriate for me to get involved in their election.
So everybody in the news was like, how the hell did he do that? How the hell did our national Microsoft Excel guy convince Trump to stop trolling? Until recently.
Yes or no, did Mr. Trump bring up the 51st state in his call with you?
I said that he did.
Trump actually was talking about the 51st state, and Carney decided not to talk about that to the Canadian media. So right now there's like a confusion. You're that guy who knows numbers, and you're scaring Trump, but in the end you didn't scare him at all, you just didn't tell us what he told you. That's what's happening between our two leaders right now. Second in line for the most boring Canadian leaders, Pierre Poilievre. First challenge with Pierre Poilievre is pronouncing his goddamn name. Even for a French speaker, it seems like there was too many R's in his name to be real. Pierre Poilievre. I don't even know how to write it. P-E-R-I-R-R-L-E-R-R-V-V-R-E.
In Pierre Poilievre's own...
For Pierre Poilievre.
Pierre Poilievre. He gives me Ken vibes. Just feel like he should have done his, AI toy thing. I actually made it for him. Sorry for his name. We're gonna call him Pierre. The little challenge that Pierre Poilievre faces is that he's being painted in Canada as a mini Trump. That's not super good for him.
Est-ce que vous êtes un mini Trump? J'ai un moyen Trump, un grand Trump.
He stands for smaller government, cutting bureaucracy. Those are very big words for me today. He stands for more law and order. He's tougher on crimes. He doesn't like illegal stuff. He wants Canadian energy independence. Oil, gas should be transformed on Canadian soils. He is also very skeptical and aggressive against the carbon tax. Does it start sounding like someone else? And he talked about deportation of violent visitors.
Including crimes of vandalism, that visitors to Canada should be deported.
I mean, he's fighting super hard to distance himself from the Trump administration. And when he's challenged about this in the media, his arguments are flawless.
Lui, il vient d'une origine très riche, famille millionnaire. Moi, je suis né d'une mère monoparentale avec 2 enseignants comme parents qui me donnaient une origine modeste.
So he's not like Trump, because he's not as rich as Trump. I have a little piece of advice for him. If he wants to distance himself from Trump, maybe they shouldn't have little sleepovers where they write their speeches together.
That will make both countries safer, richer, and stronger.
Stronger, safer, and a richer country.
Now we're getting into the interesting contestant, and I'm starting number 3 with Yves-François Blanchet. And sorry for my American and English Canadian speakers, there's a lot of R's when Yves-François Blanchet speaks.
Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet was in Montreal Wednesday, where he said that Quebecers must defend their own economic interests in the face of US President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs.
Strangely enough, Yves-François Blanchet does not want to run Canada. He's not interested.
You know what? I don't want to be the leader of Canada.
He is just here to remind you that Quebec might leave Canada any minute now. Just think of Yves-François Blanchet as your moody roommate who gets pissed off when you use his Netflix account. This is Yves-François Blanchet. Basically, he's defending everything that sounds French except people from France. So, Quebecers. He's just there to hire more people with R's in their names.
The leader's comments came just as the party announced a new candidate, Emmanuel Lapierre, for the Laurier-Saint-Marie federal riding in downtown Montreal.
And actually, what's kind of weird is that Trump and Yves-François Blanchet kind of agree on the fact that Canada might not be a real country.
Part of an artificial country called Canada.
Canada would cease to exist if it weren't for the United States.
That's the most disturbing of everything. Now, why exactly are French-speaking people in Canada? That would require a full 20-minute video that probably no one will watch. So here's a 20-second recap on why the heck are there French-speaking people in Canada. 1608, Samuel de Champlain lands where Quebec is right now and says, oh my God, this place is chill. We're gonna found a city called Quebec City today. At least. New France, you have farmers, fur traders, basically a bunch of people trying to avoid paying their taxes. We're still like this today. 1759, the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. The British people sneak attack on Quebec City and they win within 42 minutes or something like that. Both generals die, exactly like a cheap episode of Game of Thrones. It went like, flu, ha, it's our city now. 1763, the British acquire Canada with the Treaty of Paris. They own all the land over there, including where the French live. What do you think the French did? They stayed, and they went like, we're staying. We're gonna eat our little piece of bread with our little gravy and blah, blah, blah. You can talk English if you want. We're not gonna learn it. You. 1775, the Americans want a revolution. What do you think the British did? They asked the French to remain neutral and to stay there and to not participate with the Americans. They were like, no, in exchange, we're gonna give you all the baguette that you want. And we said yes. So from that day on, we were on the British side against you guys during the American Revolution. And we welcomed all those British people on our French territory, and this is how Canada was born. The only thing you have to remember now is that Yves-François Blanchet is there to remind you all that Canada was built with French and English people to start with, and that French people just won't die. They tried everything, we just won't die. The last Canadian leader, the least boring one, has to be Jagmeet Singh. He is my all-time favorite, not for political reasons, but my all-time favorite, Jagmeet Singh. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Jagmeet Singh. Jagmeet Singh. Jagmeet Singh. Trains like an MMA fighter, but looks like Aquaman's lawyer. He has long hair. Whoosh. He sometimes flipped them like this in front of the media. He has a big beard and a turban. He has more style than the guys on Queer Eye. He's short-tempered. You do not mess with Jagmeet Singh. Holy no! If politics were to be decided in a fighting cage, forget about it. He's already won. Are you messing with me? Are you messing with me? I'm gonna mess with you. This is Jagmeet. Like, he's not taking shit from anyone. His political ads look like a Mortal Kombat ad. It's insane.
So I got in the ring to take on the powerful few and fight for you. It's time for someone in your corner, especially when times are tough. I won't back down. I won't stop fighting for you.
He is so terrifying and so insistent that during our leaders debate, his microphone was cut off. He was just like, you answer!
Mr. Singh, cut his mic.
Just imagine if Jagmeet Singh was in the Oval Office as a prime minister with Donald Trump.
What we need to do is acknowledge that Trump is a bully.
Here's how Jagmeet Singh reacts when he is being bullied in real life.
Corrupted bastard. You got something to say?
I didn't say corrupted bastard, but I said...
Is that what you said?
No, I did not say that.
Who said it?
Somebody behind me said that.
Was it me? Was it you? No. My word. You sure it's not you? No. 100%. You're a coward. You're not going to say it to my face. That's what's up. Say what? If I said something like that to you, I'd admit.
Security would be up the roof. They'd be like, oh, Canada's leader is coming. Jagmeet is on the plane. Bring in the Secret Services. So Jagmeet isn't your typical politician. He's the cool dude that you will invite for brunch, and he will bring the best cupcakes. But he's also that friend. He knows 21 ways to break your neck if you insult him, his mother, or his country. That could be Canada's next leader. Honestly, if you made it this far in the video, you know more about Canadian politics than 90% of Americans and 30% of Canadians that might be a little lost right now. So if Canada keeps on showing up in your newsfeed as the 51st state or as your basic backyard friends, at least now you know who's in charge of that thing that is not a country anyways, according to your president and according to the Bloc Québécois. Have a good week.